team of astronomers says it has discovered what appear to be planets that are not orbiting stars. Some scientists have suggested the existence of such free-floating planets in space. The team, which includes researchers from Japan's Nagoya and Osaka universities, says it has discovered 10 such suspected floating planets. The planets each have a mass approximately equivalent to that of Jupiter. The discoveries were made over 18 months, starting in April of 2006, using a special telescope at an observatory in New Zealand. The researchers say the discovered celestial bodies must be floating planets because, unlike fixed stars, they do not emit light. They say they found no fixed stars near these planets.
The discoveries are a step toward learning how planets were created and how they develop.
Some scientists expect that a NASA surveyor to be launched in 2020 will be able to capture images of these floating planets.
Imagine a planet floating freely through the universe, not orbiting any star. Well, astronomers think they may have found one, and it's only 100 light years from Earth. That makes it easier for researchers to test new techniques for examining the environments of alien worlds. It's possible this could be a small failed star, a so-called brown dwarf. Or it could be a true planet that formed around a star but was kicked out in a slam dance of gravitational dynamics. Whatever it is, there could be many more of them. Several new studies point to a model of the universe in which rogue planets outnumber main sequence stars by more than 2 to 1.
Hello everyone, you're watching Radio RWJ, and today I have some news for you about the rogue planet, Planet X. And this has sort of been confirmed by NASA. First they said there's no such planet like that, but now they've observed a planet like Nibiru. They say it's unlikely to destroy Earth, but they're giving us little clues. Now I'm not sure if this planet is or may not, attack Earth or be, anything bad for Earth. I'm not sure about that, but NASA's confirmed that it exists. First they said there's no such object in our solar system, but now they're starting to give us an idea that it may be there. And this may cause a disruption in Earth, and no one's really sure right now what's going on. I mean, there's the Mayan conspiracy, there's the zombies attack that's going on, and earthquakes. Level of earthquakes this year have been phenomenal. If you want to read over, I'll read it for you. The ancient Mayan calendar comes to an end on December 21st this year. I mean, Mayans, yes, intelligent people, but I don't think that's the main reason why the world will end, just because their calendar ends. But 2012 has been a really, really crazy year. We've seen earthquakes magnitude 9.0, maybe above. And if you have the earthquake app, you can get that for Windows and even iOS. You can see the amount of 6 and 5.6 earthquakes on the Richter scale that are happening these days. It's every single day you have one or another 6 or 5.6 earthquake, and the amount of stuff that's happened. And there's an asteroid DA14 that's gonna come really close to our that's gonna come really close to Earth, and the scientists are saying it's not gonna impact, but no one knows yet what's gonna happen. I guess we just have to wait December 21st, 2012, because right now, not much. I mean, lots has happened. You can't say nothing has happened this year. I mean, this is a really big global change. You can't say what is happening this year is a normal change. This is a global catastrophe. I mean, I don't want to sound like one of those really weird people saying, oh, the world's gonna end and stuff like that, but well, the facts are there, so I'm just giving it to the people, showing them what's happening in today's world. So yeah, so this has been a little video about telling you about that NASA has confirmed planet like Nibiru or Planet X, whichever you may. First they said it didn't exist, now they're saying it exists, but they're saying it will not harm planet Earth. But let's just see what happens. I know it seems like a really weird thing to sit and just sit and die, but not do anything. I'm not going to tell anyone to prepare. If you want to prepare, you could. I'm not stopping you from preparing. I'm not telling you to prepare. It's a really confusing situation right now, so I'll leave you to decide. Thank you for watching. This has been RWJ26, and keep it tuned in to watch more videos.
2 giant asteroids are coming our way right now, speeding through space at 43,000 miles an hour, and one of them is about 2.5 miles wide. It's believed to be the asteroid responsible for the first ever recorded meteorite crash that almost killed a woman 60 years ago. So to talk more about this, I'm being joined now by legal and media analyst Lionel. Lionel, my friend, for this segment, though, I'm going to call you my meteor analyst. So, all right.
And the topics get meatier and meatier.
Well, let's keep our space talk from last week going.
Yeah, yes.
We seldom hear about these giant space rocks. How come, and how dangerous might they actually be to us?
Well, let's first of all look at the big picture here, the theme of this. From an eschatology point of view, the end of times. Think about this. This, theoretically, the asteroid, meteors, this huge collision, is what gave humankind its chance, our chance. So I find that fascinating. Number 2, I don't believe anything the government says about anything. Now, number 3, look at what's interesting about this. Let's assume that all of a sudden, and we talked about this last week, if all of a sudden people started looking elsewhere, where governments had to cooperate with other governments, where one government had to lend a hand, where all of a sudden these weird jurisdictional differences between us, this sense of nationalism, all gave way to this collective, we're all in this together, where kumbaya meets we are the world. This is a fascinating topic, because what it does is it reminds us just how vulnerable we are, how we're just this little blue dot in the middle of nothing.
That's true. That is a good point. And you know, as we discussed last week, I think a lot of people aren't aware that there are these joint coalitions that include countries like Chile and France and even some other NATO partners, but you know, the U.S. is strangely left out. So I get why you may not believe anything that our government is telling us, especially when it comes from, you know, regarding space stuff.
And what's also, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
What's also interesting, too, is that, you know, we love to talk about space, but from a very infantile, a juvenescent point of view. I mean, here we are, you know, Star Wars, and that's terrific. But when it comes to really understanding how this thing works, I mean, just think about this. Something that is 2 miles wide, colliding at enormous speeds. And when you also consider this part, who is responsible for this? Think about the legal implications. Who has jurisdiction? How do you make a claim? I mean, I'm sure somewhere in your insurance policy, you know, we always have acts of nature, force majeure, acts of providence. I mean, these are, the implications of this are so fascinating. But what's interesting is that the first thing the mainstream media says is, don't worry about it. There's no chance it's going to hit us. Well, that's good news. But just think about this. When it comes to our ability to understand our position in the world, especially when it comes to space, it's hard to believe that we know less than we do this particular topic, because we have no idea of how this thing fits in. And let me also go back to the idea, especially every now and then we'll talk about evolution and creationism. Let me just remind folks, this is how humankind came about. And many people have suggested that, believe it or not, I'm really going to blow a lot of people's minds, that maybe our genesis came from microbial data, if you will, on these asteroids that hit us, you know, millions of years ago.
Billions of years ago. Not to forget, though, not to forget, this is what took out the dinosaurs. So, but you know, according to NASA, the chances of being killed by some sort of meteorite or other things falling from space is actually about 1 in 250,000. Now, that's actually better than any state lottery. I don't care where you're at. But
Yes.
they also say that we can expect to see more asteroids passing Earth as in the coming years. They're just going to kind of scoot right by us. But should we actually be worried, though? How do you plan for this?
We don't get worried about stuff. We don't care about diet, health, politics, war. We don't care about cancer. Nothing bothers us. Nothing frightens us. Nothing. We will trivialize it. We will laugh about it. But what's also interesting is that one of these days, you know, there's part of me that thinks, Manila, that the governments are kind of acclimating us towards some big news. And as we said last week, one of these days, mark my words, and I hope to be on with you, when that contact is made, when you go to some anchor who looks ashen and pallid and says, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to believe this, but we have made contact. And it's not an asteroid, it's not a meteor, it's even bigger.
I hope you and I are definitely together.
Oh.
If and when that comes, you and me, Lionel, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
That was legal and media analyst Lionel.
Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? We have breaking news, breaking news. There has been a mega 7.3 earthquake has just hit Japan. Fukushima, Japan. Are you serious? I mean, you guys know what happened on 3/11/11 when that monster 9.0 hit right there near Fukushima, creating this incredible tsunami. It literally, the earthquake was so hard it shook the ground for 6 minutes and brought a tsunami inland 6 miles, leaving 6 nuclear reactors in meltdown mode. Now, here we are again, 7.3 right there. Matter of fact, the quake just struck about 30 minutes ago. According to meteorologists, the depth of it only 7 miles, 11 kilometers. That's very shallow, very powerful. There's no doubt we have damage. There's no question it's going to affect the Fukushima nuclear power plant. There's no question. You can't have a 7.3, 7 miles deep, and not have a situation here. And matter of fact, there is tsunami warnings. They're saying possibly 10 foot high. They're telling people to get ready. Now, this thing is going to be, this is a dangerous situation. What does it mean for Fukushima? It's way too early. It's a very fluid situation, way too early. Now, some of the U.S. Geological Survey now, initially, okay, now they're saying not 7.3, but they're downgrading it now to 6.9. That's typical for U.S. Geological Survey. Keep downgrading. They've been doing it forever that way. It won't change the fact this thing's shaking, quaking, and the devil's back is breaking as we're in the end time apocalyptic days of chaos. I mean, I just had lunch with L.A. Marzulli, and we were talking earlier today, and we just did a television, 2 television shows with him today. And Days of Chaos. Days of Chaos. Matter of fact, he's going to be my guest again tomorrow on my live broadcast. We're going to start an hour early because I got to get him to the airport. But at 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, L.A. Marzulli will be co-hosting with me. It'll be a powerful broadcast. Don't miss it. Are you serious? Earthquakes! Are you serious? Pray for the people of Japan